اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا. I would like to welcome you all again to the Knowledge Month event where we celebrate one of the greatest assets humans can have. Today is a very important day, not just because of the Saudi Arabia versus Argentina football match, but also we are going to share and learn about the pharmaceutical sector, a sector that plays a major role in saving lives and securing the kingdom needs. This year, the pharmaceutical industry has reached a remarkable size of 30 billion Saudi riyal, with local production accounting for 25 to 30%. Without further ado, I would like to start the session with our colleague Lubna Al-Fahed from SIDF, who will give us an overview about SIDF role and involvement and support for the sector.
Assalamu alaikum jami'an. I'm Lubna Al-Fahed. It was a pleasure to meet you all. I'm a credit relationship officer that works in the pharmaceutical industry. Today, inshallah, I will walk you through about overview and a history about SIDF role in the Saudi economy. And also we'll walk you through about SIDF solutions and financial offerings and SIDF contribution toward Vision 2030. And finally, I will highlight why SIDF is considered the best financing choice and how to take the advantage of the financing solutions provided by SIDF. So first, SIDF was established in 1974 by Royal Decree as a governmental financial institution entity to realize the programs, policies, and objectives of the Saudi industrial development economy. So our vision is to enable Saudi Arabia transformation to become industrial powerhouse and a global logistic hub. And our mission is to enhance the ecosystem competitiveness and the investment attractiveness by providing both financial and non-financial services. Our values start by reliability. We work to be a reliable financial source. And then development, we work to enhance and develop the industrial sector in Saudi Arabia. Teamwork, we work together as a team to realize our objectives and goals. Enablement, we work to enable our clients to achieve their goals and growth in the Saudi economy. And finally, client success, we ensure that our clients reach their success since their success is our success as well. In order for SIDF to realize their goals and objectives, SIDF has worked to increase their capital throughout the years by increasing it from 500 million to 105 billion for over 45 years in order to enhance and work toward the industrial development in the kingdom. Further, SIDF makes sure to support all the regions, covering both developed, semi-developed, and less developed cities in terms of financial support and in order to ensure the growth in the Saudi economy. Further, also, SIDF has worked toward providing the support, the financial support and the non-financial support as well for SMEs. For example, up to June 2020, SIDF has approved around 52 projects. Out of these 52 projects, 40 are SMEs, which shows SIDF care of this targeted people. Next, I will walk you through the financial offerings provided by SIDF and the solution portfolio and SIDF contribution toward Vision 2030. By the release of the Vision 2030 and the Industrial National Development Program, NEDLP program, SIDF has expanded its financing scope to cover other sectors, including mining, energy, and logistics. Our main financial offerings including project financing, acquisition financing, working capital financing, and also to include supply chain financing, in addition to multi-purpose financing. So, project financing cover both financing greenfield projects from the scratch or expansion of projects. For acquisition financing, it's related to financing any factory that intend to acquisition other operations that will enhance the business overall. Working capital financing is related to financing the working capital cost, including labor, maintenance, depreciation, etc. And the supply chain financing relate to financing the raw materials by the suppliers, provided by the suppliers. And multi-purpose financing relate to financing any assets that might contribute toward the enhancing the overall operation of the industrial projects. In addition to our main financial offerings, we provide advisory services that focus on cost optimizations and market penetrations, covering both technical and marketing aspects. Further, in addition to the financial offerings and the advisory services, we provide package incentives to accelerate the growth of the industrial project in the economy. And these incentives include متجددة program, توطين program, آفاق program, تنافسية program. For متجددة program, it relates to the solar panels and renewable energy projects. توطين program cares about increasing the localization percentage in the supply chain, and it's been conducted by several external entities, including SABIC, Aramco, STC, and Ma'aden. AFAق program relates or focus in the SMEs of projects, and it's also this program conducted by collaboration with external entities, including King Saudi universities and منشآت. تنافسية programs focus on enhancing the competitiveness and the internal process of the industrial projects by focusing on two elements, that is digitalization and energy efficiency. Now I will highlight why SIDF is considered the best financing choice and how to take advantage of the financing solution provided. First, SIDF covers a broad range of sectors, including mining, energy, logistics, and the original industries. The capital limit of financing reaches up to 10 billion per obligator and up to 3 billion per projects. The tenor reaches up to 20 years repayment period and reaches up to 4 years grace period. The turnaround time for the evaluation process reaches maximum to 4 to 5 months. The financing percentage reached up to 75, depending on the project location and the strategic nature of the projects. Automations, we have worked internally to increase the automation level to enhance and speed up the evaluation process. Pricing, it represents a fixed cost of a financing. And the advisory services, as mentioned before, it covers both technical and marketing aspects to ensure the success of the industrial projects. Now, if you zoom in the pharmaceutical industry incentives, the grace period given for the pharmaceutical project reach up to 5 years, ranging from 2 to 5 years. The financing percentage reach up to 75, as per mentioned, depending on the project location and the strategic nature of the project. The funded working capital reach up to 6-month funding compared to 3 months for typical projects. Pre-operating costs reach up to 50% percentage covering of financing. Now, how to apply for SIDF for your new loan? You apply through the client portal online by initiating initial loan request, selecting your relevant sector, selecting your loan type, and then selecting the license type. What are the required documents for applying? Commercial registration, industrial license, article of association, and ensuring that the sector you are targeted is financeable by SIDF, and net worth details to ensure that the net worth provided coverage the SIDF required loan, and signing the credit check application. For any further inquiries, you can reach out to us anytime through this contact information, and thank you so much.
Thank you, Lubna. Now we move to the second item in our agenda, a panel discussion titled Challenges in the Pharmaceutical Industry. First, I would like to welcome our panelists for today. Session moderator, Abiya Turkestani, Pharmaceutical and Medical Devices Market Consultant at SIDF. Dr. Mansour Al-Huwaimil, Pharmaco Economics Manager at NUPCO. Dr. Ashraf Al-Grain, Healthcare and Pharma Director at Local Content, Government and Procurement Authority. Dr. Mohammed Al-Aqil, Factories Inspection Support Director at SFDA. Dr. Yasser Al-Ubaida, CEO of Sudair Pharma. We wish you a fruitful discussion, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum jami'an. Good morning, everyone. It's truly my pleasure to be with you all here today, and I would like to welcome you to SIDF. I would like to thank my respected panelists. Thank you so much for your time and for coming here to SIDF to share with us your valuable knowledge. Thank you so much. And also I would like to extend my thanks to our dear guests. شكرا لكم جميعا على حضوركم. And also we have our viewers through our online platform. Welcome and thank you all for joining us during this session. Today we will touch point on the pharmaceutical industry since it's considered one of the strategic sectors in the kingdom. And of course, we all know that drug security is a national mandate. And the government has been actively supporting this sector and trying to increase local content. And of course, such mission comes with different challenges. So I'm very delighted that we're all here gathered today, private sector, ecosystem, financial enablers, to discuss further and highlight critical elements in the pharmaceutical ecosystem. حياكم الله جميعاً. I will start with you, Dr. Mansour. Of course, NUPCO is an important stakeholder in the pharmaceutical ecosystem as being the main procurement body for all the government purchasing. Can you tell us, Doctor, about, or can you walk us through NUPCO's objectives and the path for achieving them?
First of all, I would like to thank you so much for hosting us and inviting NUPCO among a great panelist here. At the beginning, NUPCO, the main objective of NUPCO to secure the highest level of cost spending efficiency when it's come to procuring the medical products, either medications, medical supply, or medical equipment, to secure the highest level of spending efficiency for the governmental sector. The second main objective is to also provide the highest level of delivering the healthcare services to the healthcare provider, to the governmental healthcare provider, which we consider as a customers for NUPCO. NUPCO achieving such services through providing efficient unified procurement, providing the bulk procurement and gathering all the procurement on one platform in order to achieve the highest level of volume. So this will improve the cost by relying on large scale of economy. The second part is the logistic services, which is provided with high level of warehouses and high level of providing the healthcare at the point of care. So through these 2 points, actually, NUPCO, through these 2 main services, let's say, NUPCO providing its, achieving its objective. On top of that, also NUPCO providing a different business solution, which is add-on the main core business of the NUPCO. One of them is WASFATI business solution, which is provided by NUPCO in collaboration with Ministry of Health. WASFATI business solution is a great solution to achieve and minimizing the administrative overhead and operational cost. It will provide, it will secure for patient to collect his medication from the nearest private pharmacies and chain pharmacies, so the patient will not need to stay in the hospital and wait for a long time to collect his medication. This also will contribute to minimizing the medication errors. It will contribute also to improve the efficiency of the work. This is for the first business solution provided by NUPCO. The second business solution is a marketplace, which is a kind of platform like Amazon, eBay. So the buyer and planner in the healthcare sector, in the governmental healthcare sector, will have the ability to just pick up the medication, and this will go to the NUPCO team to be procured. So collectively, through these services and business solution, NUPCO achieved the main objective, which is providing the highest level of healthcare services and providing the highest level of cost-spending efficiency.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mansour. This is actually very informative. And this is naturally actually leads us to the second question, which will be directed to you, Dr. Ashraf. Can you tell us more about the incentives that the Local Content Authority has put in place to support the local manufacturing, especially during the public tendering?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. First of all, I am glad to be here with you. Actually, I will start with LGBA definition. The LGBA has defined the comprehensive concept that focusing on different Saudi components with aim adding value to the national economy. And we focus on very important component. It is workforce, goods and services, production and asset. And we create a different mechanism for support, increase the economic on the kingdom. We start with minimum local content thresholder and local content score commercial evaluation, price preference. We give 10% on NUPCO tendering for the national product, and mandatory list. And mandatory list, it is a list contain a national product. The NUPCO need to adhere with it and take to have this priority for this list. On the past, we have now on local content for different sector, we released 9 mandatory lists for different sector, like we have a list for art, food, and medical supply, and of course pharmaceutical. And until now we reach for all total of mandatory list, we reach almost 400 product on this list. For pharmaceutical, it is one of the highest list on local content. It is around 144, and we work now with to increase this number. And the reason for this mandatory list, it is to improve the industrial and develop new technology and support the local company and local product to keep it on the market and reach the national security.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Ashraf, for clarifying that. Now, actually, we're switching our perspective into the regulation. Dr. Mohammed, أهلا وسهلا فيك. Speaking now about SFDA, of course, as a regulator for the pharmaceuticals in the kingdom, how did SFDA improve the customer journey?
Assalamu alaikum. Good morning. Pleasure, and thank you for having me today. As the Saudi Food and Drug Authority responsible for assuring the quality, efficacy, and safety of all products registered within the Saudi FDA, and to ensure that all that the products are made the Saudi FDA specification and the international regulation. Therefore, we developed actually an electronic platform, what we call it SIDR. Maybe it's famous for most of the companies. SIDR instead of Saudi Drug Registration System. So through this platform, the company can submit their products and all the related documents and necessary information easily to Saudi FDA to evaluate it. And through this platform, all the information will be easily handled without any missing or malfunction. And we are almost working to develop this system or platform and maintain it to fix any issues can affecting the customer service and the company's journey during the registration of the products. And we're always happy to hear from the companies if there is any recommendation or comments on our system to update it or improve it in the future, as we did a lot of the frequent meeting with the company, and also we always send the annual questionnaire to the company to hear from them yearly. Also, we have many initiatives that may help the local and important products in Saudi Arabia. For example, we just published on our website an initiative for a company to register unregistered or unavailable product in Saudi Arabia. As the company can get from this initiative a priority in registration, it help and support the company in the pricing mechanism, especially for low economic visibility products. And the company can have exclusive marketing for some low demand medicine. And also we can support them during if they have any technical regulation, and if they have facing an issue with the fees for our registration and inspection services.
So this is, doctor, different than the SDR application?
Yeah, it's totally different.
Totally
Yes.
different. And it supports traders and also local manufacturers, right?
Both, yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Dr. Mohammed, for shedding light on a critical aspect on the investor journey. Moving now to Dr. Yasser and to the private sector. Dr. Yasser, coming from the private sector, can you talk to us about Sudair Pharma and the main, let's say, challenges that you faced along the way, and how did you manage to overcome these challenges?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. أول شيء, good morning and thank you very much for having us. It's really very nice that most of the stakeholders on the pharma are on the room, which is very good to hear from each other. Sudair Pharma, it's a company which is a startup company. It was started as a dream. I was a clinical pharmacist, and I touched the suffering of a lot of patients of having anti-cancer at that time, and some of the relatives also having the issue of sometimes the shortage of old medications, the chemotherapy, or very expensive medications for cancer therapy at that time. I'm not really familiar with the industry at that time. I'm really clinical, and I was also in the leadership positions in hospitals. But it was a dream, and we started to know we need to do something on that area. That's good that I am not really familiar. Subhanallah, al-jahl بعض المرات is better than you know. When I consult a lot of people around me, that most of the people who's really on the field, they said, don't do it. You cannot. We started from that time. It was a challenge of convince the people around me about quitting, the challenge of having a technical partner. Most of international companies, they don't really, maybe 5 years trying to seek for these issues. Challenge Saudi SIDF, I came and they said, ما عندك ملاءة مالية. Challenge, a lot of challenge, which is really, it was really barrier over barriers. But later on, alhamdulillah, challenge of a lot of my friends who is laughing at me of when we started, بنسوي anti-cancer facility in Saudi Arabia. And all of these challenges, it's really, I touch where we started, and now, alhamdulillah, after Vision 2030, after, mashallah, a lot of organizations, they have all of these, most of these challenges is less than before. But alhamdulillah, each part, if we, Saudi FDA, they sat with us on the beginning when we plan. Local content is a big, صراحة الآن supporting. NUPCO also, the people who's working is really supporting. A lot of people who's around us on the main pharma, they are really supporting for the local. At that time when we started, they said nobody will use for anti-cancer a local product. They will have to have a brand, and they don't trust the local product. Like subhanallah, alhamdulillah, in this 2 years after Corona, we have certain products, the international companies, they not supply. If we are not there, the patient will suffer a lot. For all of these issues in the way, I think the challenge is less now if anybody will start his project, because the support from different governmental sector. Alhamdulillah, and we finished our facilities and we started producing. Alhamdulillah, now more than 10 products locally produced fully in our facility. Our second facility, inshallah, Saudi FDA will have the visit for our sterile line, which is very unique line. We don't have it in the region for the cytotoxic. And also we have a general facility, alhamdulillah, we will open it inshallah next year. عندنا 3 facilities. For all the challenges before, alhamdulillah, now it's better.
Alhamdulillah, wallah, very inspiring, Doctor, وبالتوفيق inshallah. And actually this is not only your success, it's success for all of us and all the ecosystem. Good luck on that. يعطيك العافية. Coming back to you, Dr. Mansour. NUPCO evolved since its formation in 2009, and now it includes logistic and distribution services. Sure. So what are the plans that NUPCO have for better services for the healthcare, for pharmaceutical, medical devices, healthcare in general?
Thank you, Dr. Abia, for this question. Actually, NUPCO moving on 3 dimensions, or let's say 5 dimensions. First one is to increase the market share, which is we are mandated to reach 99% of the governmental healthcare servicing. So this is the first dimension that we are working on. So we're increasing our market share in serving the governmental healthcare sector. The second one is securing the availability of product at the point of care. We are now 85%, and we are targeting 99%. And this is from our main, let's say, pillar in our plan to achieve our objective. The third one is increase. The third one is increasing. I mentioned the securing the availability of product at the point of care and increasing market share. And in addition to increase, I'm sorry, but the third one is to increase the. To transfer the NUPCO to be a data-centric organization, which is relying on the data and taking the decision. Also provide consultation services to healthcare provider. The fourth one is moving to the private sector and to provide the services for the private sector. And this is actually a challenge for NUPCO to come in this sector, because there is a lot of competition, and we are in NUPCO aware of this. So this is in our strategy for the long term. The last one, which is the most critical and a very important one, is transferring from the agent model of business or agent model business to principal, in which NUPCO can own the inventory. So this will improve the demand and supply planning, comparing to the current situation, which is okay, NUPCO doing the warehouse and everything, but the inventory inside the warehouse is not owned currently by NUPCO. When it is owned by NUPCO, this will improve the accuracy of our demand planning and supply. So based on or relying on this 5 dimensions, NUPCO is moving We are sure that by supporting the well-mature the ecosystem, we will achieve our goal in collaboration with our stakeholder in the ecosystem.
Tawfiq, inshallah. Doctor, you mentioned the point of looking forward to collaborate with the private sector.
Exactly.
Is it as a distributor for the, like what you're doing for the government hospitals, or?
Actually, this is in our strategy for 2025. So currently, we have no share, we have zero share, but the plan is to provide our services as NUPCO by our expertise and accumulative experience when it's come to supply chain and unified procurement to provide these services to private sector.
Perfect. Good luck on that, inshallah.
Thank you.
Dr. Ashraf, can you tell us more about the local content efforts in localizing in new segments in pharmaceutical or healthcare industry?
Thank you, Abia, for this question. Actually, local LCGBA has activated a new contracting mechanism. It is called localization of industry and knowledge transfer. This is a new type of contracting on the procurement law and government tender. Actually, LCGBA responsible to supervision and activation this type of contracting. We have two types from this contracting. We start with tendering through NUPCO for localization. And we just created a new type. It is by localization of industry and technology transfer by promising to adding on the mandatory list. Until now, we signed 7 agreements from this style. 4 of them is on healthcare and pharma. And we have potential. We work with our partner on our partner investor global and local investor and owner to on potential opportunity. We hope, inshallah, or we expected, inshallah, we announced soon about some of them. And we think this will be help the localization and attracting the new technology to the kingdom, inshallah.
Okay. Doctor, does this contract include, I don't know, like offtake agreements, or this is something
This is
different?
exactly what we call offtake agreement,
Okay.
but actually we didn't prefer offtake agreement.
Yeah.
We call it on LCGBA localization of industry
Okay.
and technology transfer. The offtake agreement, it is what I call it through tendering.
Yes.
We go with tendering now for pharmaceutical. We go through NUPCO to tender this as localization. For localization, the technology, and we committed with a certain amount from the a demand of the government on certain price and period. Based on the offer, we get it from the investor. And we create a new style for this based on the type of product. It is called localization of industry and technology transfer by promising to adding on the mandatory list. We align with the investor globally or locally, and we discuss with them about their offer for localization. And if it is matched with our condition, we go to add it on the mandatory list.
Very promising efforts, Dr. Ashraf. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Dr. Muhammad, knowing that that is your area of expertise, can you tell us more about the inspection process for the facilities, manufacturing facilities, and what are the main, let's say, area or aspects that you look into during these visits?
Okay, thank you very much. Actually, the frequency of our inspection, the inspection plan, and our concentration and where the area should be focusing during our inspection are based on what we call the risk metrics. We have a risk metrics procedure which is published on our website, where through this procedure we rely on many factors, or the data feeding this procedure. For example, the main factor are the history of the inspection, the previous inspection on that site. So our experience in that firm or the company is one of the main factors for our risk metrics. And also the type of the products, the type of the production line. So the manufacturer producing a sterile products is totally different than the company with the non-sterile products or a herbal or health products manufacturer. So based on this, we can decide when we can visit the company, how many inspector, how many days we needed to do the inspection, where the area should be focusing during the inspection, and also how should we do the inspection. Do we need to announce the inspection for the company?
Is it always informed, or you have surprise checks?
We maybe just walk into the site in some of our phases. So all of these elements or factors can affect how to deal with the manufacturer, how to let's say design our inspection agenda, our inspection plan, and also it will be including the general, what we call it, the routine inspection, where we focus on following the material flow during the production, starting from the warehouse, how to handling the material from house, going through the production processes, and then ending by the testing of the product and release it at the end.
Thank you so much, Dr. Mohammed. Dr. Yasser, after announcing the National Industrial Strategy, and of course pharma being among the strategic sectors, where do you see the potentials, Doctor, in the market, and what kind of support does the private sector require to achieve the strategy aspirations?
Well, when we participated on the strategy before and during, but when they announced it, I think the strategy is focusing more on biological items. تعرف الفارما, we have now the chemical, which is usually, this is that we are doing most of the medications that we see, it, especially the oral, are chemical based, which is chemical reactions. Moved the pharma to biologic. Biologic, الخلية, the cells are the new facility, which is the new production of the protein that you like to do. I think now most of the national industrial strategy focusing on the biologic and also the vaccinations, and also considers as, you know, biologic medications. So this is very important aspect. But is the things which is very unique are focusing on the R&Ds, focusing on having a national pharma organizations or program that it will be having certain incentives to have these. Why is the biologic is really very important? Because it's very important to the patients, but we have a lot of solutions, especially on the cancer patients, that most of the biologic are used now for cancer patients. And also, most of the budget are coming to the biologic. I think the focus now for the coming years, especially on the industrial, national industrial strategy, more to the bio pharma areas, I think, which is really we needed the budget. It will be in 2023, 50% will go to the bio. This is very important to start now.
Thank you, Dr. Yasser. Dr. Mansour, the public tender selection, of course, comes after a very careful and intensive study to ensure the optimal outcome.
Sure.
How rooted are pharmacoeconomics during the selection of the healthcare products?
Yeah, thank you, Abia. Just first of all, let me just make it clear regarding the pharmacoeconomic, as my specialty is pharmacoeconomic. Now we are serving a network of governmental hospital. Majority of them, they have a B&T committee, which called Pharmacy and Therapeutic Committee. They are doing their clinical evaluation, and on top of that, they are doing a pharmacoeconomic evaluation. So, and they come up with a decision to list the drug to the formulary, to their formulary. The position of NUPCO in this process is to serving the healthcare provider, what's the need of healthcare provider. So NUPCO is not interfering with the clinical decision of the listing the medication in the formulary. However, it provides a consultation regarding the most cost-effective. But at the end of the day, it is about the hospital to make their decision. When it's come to the tendering process, we are in the pharmacoeconomic as a new evolving unit in NUPCO. We are trying to support or inform the decision of our sourcing strategy. So we are building our drug catalog for NUPCO, and based on this drug catalog, which include a lot of information, scientific one, purchasing one, different information about suppliers, about the patency, about the opportunity for the drug that will be out of patency soon. So we are focusing on this drug to find a better sourcing strategy for the medication. So first part from our role is to inform the decision of the pharma category team. The second part is to build our catalog and to have all the treatment option available with us. So it will make it easy for us to make our sourcing strategy. The third function actually, which is very important, to improve our contracting strategy or our contracting process. We are relying now in some medication, we have a candidate medication or drugs to be procured through value-based agreement. So, and in this part actually we are collaborating with the hospitals. So because the value-based agreement, it's two parts. One part is a financial and the other part is qualitative, which is relying on the outcome, and you need to measure the outcome to pay for those outcomes. So this is the three functions we are doing in pharmacoeconomic department in the NUPCO. Also, we are supporting the drug shortage prediction by using all the published list of anticipated drug shortage global database that are published by SFDA, EMA, and this is a supportive services because we have now in this year and the second 2 years we will have a global drug shortage. So we are supporting the team in this part. So this is an overview of all services provided by pharmacoeconomic for time being.
Okay, and about the short list that you are working on, is it shared with the private sector or with other entities to, let's say, provide these or try to localize or manufacture?
Actually, Dr. Abia, this is a collaborative effort. Work with SFDA, also the availability department. They are doing a great job. They are supporting us with the data that we need. Also, we are working with inside NUPCO. We are working with the supply planning, and because we have a great team in the supply planning, and we are working closely with them to secure or to make as much as we can accurate prediction for the drug shortage. So, and this is, as I mentioned, it's not a core part or core business of pharmacoeconomic, but we are serving our colleague in NUPCO in this part. And at the end of the day, it will make, if you don't have demand planning, you will have extra cost and you will have unjustified cost, because of poor function. So this is the main role or the route that we're doing as a pharmacoeconomic in NUPCO.
Very informative. Thank you so much, Dr. Mansour.
Thank you.
Dr. Ashraf, coming back to local content and your great efforts in the ecosystem, what are the plans for localizing pharmaceutical and healthcare products specifically? Now let's talk about it.
Actually, Abiya, for LCGBA, we aim to localize the key industrial and pharmaceutical product, and we work as healthcare and pharma sector on LCGBA to focus on the high-tech product and like biologic, etc., and support this kind of project. And what actually the government need to localize and use our incentive to support this direction based on alignment with different government entity. We already announced on our website a list for molecule we need to support and we need to localize, and we already, this is announced on our website. In addition, we are open to discuss any extra or any product that they think by government or even the private sector that is important to localize on the kingdom and try to support and improve our industrial facility on the kingdom for to be reach the national security in the pharmaceutical area.
Thank you, Dr. Ashraf. Very clear. Dr. Mohammed, on the ongoing initiative that SFDA is currently working on, can you tell us more about the qualified person for the batch release?
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you actually for this very important question. As we just published a guidance in our website describing how to appoint what we call it a qualified person in a local manufacturer. First, who's the qualified person? The qualified person is the person who's responsible to assure the quality of the pharmaceutical products and then releasing of their batches. So through this guidance, we describe what is the requirement to appoint and assign the qualified person for the local manufacturer, which include that he or she, the qualified person, should have an academic degree in a pharmacy or in chemistry or microbiology, toxicology, or other maybe major can the SFDA accepted. Also, he should have a certain years of experience, not less than 5 years in the field. The QB should also have intensive training, understanding on the pharmaceutical industry and the SFDA regulation to be able to approving and releasing of the batch. And then the company should also think about assigning or hiring a Saudi national QB within 3 years of after the date of publication of this guidance. Also in this guidance, we mention a major or the main task or duties of the QB, and also it's totally detailed in our GMP guideline, especially in the Annex 16 in our website. So in this guidance, we mention the main task, which is and not limited to ensuring that there is no violation during the production of each batches in the site. Also, he or she need to ensure that all the active product API and the ingredient used during the production of the batch are within the specification. Also, all the in-process control tests, the test done in the finished products are meet the SFDA specification. And at the end, the company, all company, local companies should require to contact with the Saudi FDA within 1 year after the date of publication of this guidance to name and appoint the qualified person.
So it should, for all factories, all the qualified person, let's see, CVs should be submitted to SFDA for review and for approval.
Exactly. All the qualification experience should be submitted to Saudi FDA, as it's the name of the qualified person will be part of the license of each local manufacturer. So
they can hire more than one, like 2 or.
They have it's depends on the company.
Okay.
We required minimum 1 qualified person to be able to release the batches, but the companies can assign or appoint more than 1 QP. Yes.
Very clear. Thank you so much. Chemist.
It can be pharmacist, chemist. For example, if we have a biotechnology or biological manufacturing in the future, we can accept a bio engineer or تخصصات قريبة من ذلك.
يعطيكم العافية. Moving now to you, Dr. Yasser, and let's go back to the pandemic. Being in the front line during the pandemic, of course, exposed you to multiple waves, experiencing the market before, during, and post-pandemic. What are the changes, in your opinion, that happened to the pharmaceutical market post-COVID-19?
It's really a big challenge. A lot of countries face it during the pandemic, and shockingly that we have a lot of Western countries who's really having a lot of technologies. Most of them, they have, most of the companies are from, although they have a big challenge. What is the challenge that we have it during the pandemic is they found out that 80% of the API, which is the active pharmaceutical ingredient, for the medications was used in daily basis, like an old generic medications, are coming from China and India. Once the Chinese having the issues of, and also the Indian follow with the preventing any export of any of these APIs, most of the Western world are facing a big challenge. Now, I think the challenge is the shortage, and Dr. Mansour, he mentioned that the shortage is a big issue, not here, not only in Saudi Arabia, in a lot of countries, because of the supply chain and changing of the prices. Hopefully, inshallah ta'ala, Saudi FDA with NUPCO having a plan for I think we will face a lot of shortage, unfortunately.
Inshallah, Allah yasahhalu. I guess this leads us also to speak about NUPCO, let's say success story maybe during the pandemic, or what was your main role during the pandemic, Dr. Mansour?
Thank you, Abiya, for this question. Actually, it is a success story for the whole country, and a success story for the whole stakeholder in the ecosystem. So it's not only NUPCO. We all passed through this pandemic and all crises. I don't want to just talk about only NUPCO, because we are working with the Ministry of Health, we are working with Saudi FDA team, we are working with the private sector. But if you allow me, Abiya, that I have some figures just to show that how many vaccines that NUPCO was able, in collaboration with the all stakeholders in the ecosystem, In 2021, and during the pandemic, NUPCO was succeeded to deliver more than 55 million doses of the vaccine. We were able to secure more than 30 million of tests for the COVID-19. In other part, as a partial, or let's say a side success story, we also signed agreements, 8 agreements to localize the surgical masks, to localize other medical supply and equipment in collaboration with our colleague in the local content. They have done a great job in this part, and we are the executor for this. We are attracting a direct investment with almost 0.5 billion USD until 2021, until we reach it's not annual, it was until we reach 2021, as well as creating 130 direct job, in addition to more than 700 indirect job. So collectively, all this was, we consider it as a success story, but especially for the pandemic, it was a country effort. It was a collaborative effort of all sectors. All citizens was involved in any success story about the pandemic and COVID-19. Yeah, this is everything regarding
يعطيكم
this.
العافية والله
Thank you.
مرة very interesting, and thank you all for your efforts, and إن شاء الله لا يعيدها من أيام. Dr. Ashraf, if you spoke and you told us about the mandatory list of that the local content provide, how often do you update this list? Is there any certain criteria, or you wait for certain products to be provided and then you have it updated? Can you just tell us about the mechanism of this mandatory list?
Actually, we have 2 types from the updating for mandatory list. We have from our side, usually we do it as a quarterly to review our list and see what we keep it and what we left. And we have on our website, we have a link, and the private sector, they can go through it and request to add their product on the mandatory list. We take this application and review it and see if it is we can to add it or not. Before for mandatory list, we targeting 3 manufacturer, local manufacturer. The update one, and we hope it is a good decision from our side to make it 2 manufacturer. The condition should be cover the demand for the government, and of course should be registered at SFDA, because this is the evidence for the quality. This is how we will deal with the mandatory list. If we every quarter we review it and see what we can to add and to maybe remove. Now the condition for use this mandatory list is the local content baseline, and I hope all local company included in this list to start to release the certificate from LCGPA to can use the mandatory list through the government procurement or government tender.
Thank you, Dr. Ashraf. Dr. Mohammed, I know this is not your area of expertise, speaking about pricing, but if you can just tell us about how attractive you find the new SFDA pricing mechanism for the local manufacturer or for the importers or other companies.
Yes, I believe the new mechanism or the new rule of pricing has a major incentive for the local manufacturer in Saudi Arabia. Although there is maybe doesn't differentiate between the imported and the local pharmaceutical products, but the main difference, I believe, is the absence of the marketed country's price, which is the main component in the pricing mechanism. And also in the previous rule or the mechanism, the difference between the price between the brand and the generic was starting from 15% to 45%, while with the new actually the mechanism, it's become 5% between the brand and the first generic, if it will be a local manufacturer product, until to a 15. So it's a big change and difference, and the difference between the brand now and generics, it's only 5% for the first generics. I believe this is a very good and major incentive for the local manufacturer. Yes.
شكرا دكتور محمد. Dr. Yasser, where do you see the future for the pharmaceutical industry? أول شيء, where are we now, and where do you see the future for the industry in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia?
I think the future, as I mentioned, is toward the biologic, but the future now to the gene and cell and gene therapy. Cell and gene therapy is a big challenge, and I think most of the countries, they need to do something on that because it was very expensive. Yani for each patient, maybe more than 1 million. So this is a challenge, is moving very, very fast now. This is, I think, in the kingdom for now, I think the biologic, but internationally is the cell and gene therapy. Cell editing and all of these for genetic diseases, for cancer patients, it's really a big challenge. Very expensive technology. And it's life-saving, and you cannot say no because it's expensive. I don't know, I don't see any plan now for these. I think as a private, I think the government, I'm sure they have a lot of things because of the Saudi genome. They have an issues, and I think King Faisal, they have now CAR-T-cell technology. K-Mark also, they are moving to this direction. And one of sickle cell anemia, for example, one of major issues in Saudi Arabia. Now I think one of the companies, they will have a gene therapy, which a breakthrough. Imagine that in Saudi Arabia, I think we reach almost 1 million patients suffering on sickle cell anemia. If you do some sort of gene therapy, now I think that the study on the phase 3 clinical studies, but once they will announce, it will have a lot of attention internationally for that. For cancer, yes, we have CAR-T-cell for 2 indications now. We have patients now cost us I think in King Faisal, 1.5 million for each patient to have a therapy of CAR-T-cell. CAR-T-cell, it's a technology that you take the T-cells, doing some sort of changing, and later on re-inject it to the patient, and the T-cells will attack the cancer cells. And this is really a promising, and what I am seeing now that it will move from hematological problem to the solid tumor, like breast cancer, colon cancer, which is, we have an epidemic problem of colon cancer and breast cancer in Saudi Arabia, unfortunately. And this therapy, it will be really promising to the patient, but it will have a huge impact on the budget of the government. And you need to plan it from now, because it's not the medications you take it, it's individualized therapies that each patient has his own medications. So this is a big challenge. Hopefully, inshallah, the government, they will be ready for it. Otherwise, it will be a burden on the budget, and also promising for a lot of patients that they will end their suffering. One last issue is that it's very important when you ask me about post-pandemic and you ask Dr. Mohammed about the price. The big challenge now that we have is the pricing now that we have, because the prices of most of the companies now is moving to the market. They have higher prices. So that's why we have a shortage, because before Corona we don't have this challenge. But after Corona, I think the pricing of the medications that we have, we need to change it. We need to be more flexible. Otherwise, the shortage will be more. And we found it a lot of medication. It was in the Corona on the shelves, but after the Corona, we don't see it on the shelves. Why? Because of these real pricing issues that most of the companies have it, and we don't like for the coming period of time to pressure on the price. The more pressure on the price, the highest the shortage list that we have it. But this is very important that we have to consider it, all the stakeholders on that area. And I think SIDF also, they need to see of what we will do for cell and gene therapy supporting. It's a different ball game and different mindset, and it's really needed. So this is also another message that if SIDF, they have a plan, I think we have to do it from now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Yasser. Very informative. Actually, this has been a fruitful discussion, and I guess we are limited with time, but I would like to excuse our panelists if we can have questions from the guests. Please, if anyone has any question, please.
Assalamu alaikum. My question to Dr. Mansour and to Dr. Ashraf is regarding the public tender. And first of all, there is a drop in the prices for the difference between the listed prices and the price in the tender. It's less than 70%. This is number one. Number two, there is delay in payment, and the local companies will suffer, especially after the inflation of the interest. So what are the solutions we can see in the future? This is number one. Number two, there is, and we have to speak about reality. The international pharma, they are powerful, and they have lobbying power in Saudi Arabia, and they are threatening to the local industry. So what are the role of the local content and also the NUPCO? Thank you very much.
First question. شكرا يعطيك العافية. Regarding the first question, actually, I can tell that I don't have a complete idea about the payment terms, but however, we're targeting 90 days payments. We have, as you know, that we're a company, and the pay is based on, we are targeting the 90 days as the optimum to pay for the suppliers and for the manufacturer. Also, we are following and we are listing, classifying the suppliers regarding for the failure to delivery. We have a list of suppliers. They are failed to deliver on the time, and all these aspects are considered when it comes to the payment, as well as the ability of NUPCO to secure the payment within the time that we can do based on the best time or best duration that we can do, which is 90 days. If it's below 90 days, we will do. but we are allowed to make it at 180 days. But I'm sure that our team is doing their best of best, let's say, that to secure the payment for all suppliers on time within 90 days. So this is the answering for the first question, maybe Dr. Ashraf.
About the second question, Doctor, you said the global pharmaceutical company, they're suffering from what? Influence?
Locally.
Okay. Actually, what we try to do to attracting them, because our incentive, it is not only for local manufacturer, it is or for local company. They can attract bring their product here in Saudi Arabia, and we will deal with them as a local. It is not who's market authorization holder. It is focused on who's manufacturer, not who's market authorization holder. So we didn't have differentiate if the market authorization holder is local or global or multinational company. We deal with them on the same concept. We didn't differentiate between them. So if they want to take the same incentive for what we give for the local product, more than welcome.
يعطيك العافية. أي سؤال ثاني؟
السلام عليكم. السلام عليكم. مداخلة شوي طويلة معليش.
تفضل.
طيب شكرا للزملاء. يعطيكم العافية ما قصرتم. What is done by the organization represented by our colleagues is good. However, are we looking for good? In order to reach 2030, we need extreme impact. Extreme impact will not come but by doing individually. We need more integration. For example, I'm talking about the challenges in the pharmaceutical industry from the same topic. For example, Saudi FDA is maybe one of the strongest or stringent authorities in the area, maybe the first in the area. This leading position has an impact on the industry. They have new regulations, they have rules, they have different standards than the countries around. So serialization, integration, aggregation, track and trace, and so on. So this has a price. This increases the cost for the local manufacturers, extremely different than manufacturers from other countries. We need this to be taken into consideration when you integrate with other parties responsible about the decision making. There is lots of price reduction. This is another challenge. There is lots of things that's happening in Saudi FDA that affect the cost. The raw material specification that is used here in Saudi Arabia is not like the same specification that is used, for example, in other neighboring countries. So the price is even better. At the same time, we go to NUPCO. You see that NUPCO is stressing too much on reducing the price. This is healthy from one aspect, but from the other aspect, you are destroying the industry. You're pushing the industry to the rock bottom, because if you look at the facts, the net profit for the industry here now is maybe from 3% to 10%. This is the range. Some even companies well known in the market is not able to pay salaries. And some companies, probably exceptional, they go beyond 10% or 20 or 15, 10, 12, something like that. So the margins are very, very, very low. With a stringent authority, with NUPCO that's pushing too much on the prices to reduce it. At the same time, NUPCO is going into the private. So the private is the only breath that the companies now getting their profits. So pushing that, when they want the logistics to be directly only one player in logistics in Saudi Arabia, in a country, large country like Saudi Arabia, is a disaster. If anything happened to NUPCO and the delays in NUPCO, that's nobody will deliver, because companies will get rid of their logistics because it's one player now. So at the same time, So this will be a trouble somewhere else, in the near future. So at the same time, there is pressure, and at the same time, the awardation is gone everywhere else. And so there should be, maybe the local content should have more leading position in linking the agencies together, because without this, companies will struggle. And if we remember recently, a couple of weeks ago, there is a disaster in India. Lots of children dies because of the wrong medication that was administered. This is because there is because you are bringing from country that has no stringent authorities that look into the details of the raw materials. It's not just pricing. It's go down. The pricing impact is, when you go down, you will see the difference between what is still here, what is still in the other countries. So this should be taken into consideration during awardation. Otherwise, you will start seeing, instead of very good industry in the 2030, you see a collapse of companies. And you will go back to square zero, where you will have to buy from the innovator with the old price. And you will go back to the square zero. So I hope that. طيب أنا خلصت عموما. عبد الله المهيزة، شركة تبوك الدوائية. I'm representing myself. I'm talking about as an expert in the area. I'm talking about generally, not about Tabuk. So فأعتقد إنه في مجال الانتجريشن، في مجال إنه تأخذ في الاعتبار كل الفاكتورز عشان يعني نصل إلى win-win situation. ما تبغى تقلل الأسعار في النهاية يكون لبس.
في أحد يحب يأخذ الإجابة؟ تفضل دكتور.
Maybe I can start. Thank you, Dr. Abdullah, for your question. I totally agree with your comment. We actually in Saudi FDA aiming to increase and high up the standard of our local manufacturers. So that will lead and get the advantage for them to access any market easily, because they already meet the standards and regulation internationally. There is a lot of work inside the SFDA to be a member in a lot of the committees and organization like the BICS or ICH. So being a member that allowed our company to access each market based on our registration and regulation. So the product registered in Saudi Arabia and produced marketed in Saudi Arabia, it will be easily access to any market in the future. From other side, we have a lot of work and committees with our colleagues in different sectors to find a good recipe, let me say, for a specific product that may be suffering with regulation or a new initiatives from any sector, either from Saudi FDA or other bodies in governmental ministry or authorities. Maybe Dr. Mansour, if you want to elaborate on this one.
Yeah, actually, I would like to thank you for the tough comments. But I want to make it clear, we are on daily basis, we understand the global shortage, we understand the global shortage in the API. We see what's the solutions in the other country they are doing to solve this problem. We understand that we have local companies and they want to participate and improve the local industry. The price is one factor. The price is not everything. When it's come to the whole cost impact, or it's come to the value, it's not about the price only. It is a one factor. Okay, we are responsible about a budget of the governmental hospital, so we need to negotiate, and we are keen to have the best price to provide it for our country. Okay. But when it's come to the availability, when it's come to the patient and drug security for the country, the price will be kept aside, and we will negotiate the time, we will negotiate the delivery. So we want you to be rest assured that we are considering all factors. We are working effectively with our colleague in SFDA, either in pricing department, either in availability. They understand everything. It's not arbitrary that we are negotiating the price and to get the the minimum price that we can do regardless what will happen with the availability and the drug security for the country. No, it's a one factor. We need to negotiate it. We need to focus on it, okay, but it's not everything. So this is what can I add on your comments.
تفضل دكتور ياسر.
حابب اتكلم بالعربي. انا اعتقد كلنا which is هموم يعني احنا نتكلم فيها. تفضل فيه الدكتور عبد الله وتفضلوا فيه الاخوان. في جهود كثيره وايشوز، بس ترى احنا نتكلم اللي يعني في الفيلد، ترى الاوبريشن كوست عندنا يا جماعه عاليه جدا. يعني انا حتى سالت كثير من الانترناشونال كومباني اللي بيصنعوا عندنا كونتراكت مانيفاكتشرنج، we will charge them more than يعني اللي موجود عندهم في امريكا ولا في اوروبا، لعده اعتبارات. زي ما تفضل الدكتور عبد الله انه في a lot of things تصير للبرايفت سيكتور وrules وregulations which is يعني fine but involve us. يعني احنا مشكلتنا ان نحسب ان السوق السعودي سوق يعني فانتاستيك، سوق كبير، وحنا السوق الامريكي ترى سوق بسيط يا جماعه، سوق بسيط. حنا عندنا الان في الانكولوجي يعني الباتش، نص الباتش نربيه، لان كل السوق ياخذ نص. تقول والله اطلع برا برايس كومبيتيشن مخيف. والحكومات احنا في دول لنا 3 سنين ما احنا قادرين نسجل، حاطين باريرز على الامبورتنت ايتمز، فاتس نوت ان ايزي حتى اني انا اطلع واسجل، مو بعد اني ابيع ولا في خاصه بعد الكورونا. في localization is really a brand now. It's not from small countries لان كلهم they suffer especially on the western country. فاللي تفضل فيه الدكتور، ترى نقول يا جماعه، ويمكن قلتها للدكتور هشام وقلتها لكثير من الديسيجن ميكر، ما قبل الكورونا مختلف ما بعد الكورونا. اذا نبغى نشتغل بنفس العقليات اللي قبل الكورونا حنهدم اللي بديناه ما قبل الكورونا. لازم تختلف العقليات، لان بالفعل مش حنا we will suffer، البيشنت will suffer. حنا we know from the market انه في شورتج وشورتج كبير. طبعا ما نقدر بليم نوبكو ولا بليم السعودي FDA. It's an international shortage. What shall we do for it؟ اللي موجود يعني مثلا تجي نوبكو عندك تندر، الأرخص هو اللي حيروح هو اللي حياخذ. طبعا وجود اللوكال كونتنت تدعم اللوكال برودكتس والايشوز ريليتد تو ات، بس الاند اوف ذا داي هم هذا الرول حقهم انهم الارخص الافضل. نقول يا جماعه بليز، حتى الصندوق، ترى الصندوق اكبر محرك للماركت. ترى الصندوق عنده كنز، الداتا اللي موجوده عند الصندوق كنز كبير للفارما ماركت. We have to study what shall we do for الامن الدوائي. ترى الامن الدوائي، انت تخيل المملكه العربيه السعوديه لو الانسولين انقطع اسبوع، ايش تتخيل؟ خلي ينقطع الرز، خلي ينقطع اي شيء تقدر تعيش. ترى تقدر تعيش من دون اكل كم يوم، يمكن تقدر 2 weeks او 3 weeks، بس ما تقدر تعيش for certain medication دقائق. فالميديكيشن is not a joke. It's really a suffering which really it's an important، خلينا نقول أمن لازم نضمنه، لأنه especially on these areas as very important. بعد الكورونا صارت كل الكونتريز باند الاكسبورت. موجود شركات بس يقول لك لا هذا خليه لوكال، وهذا ما عاد في WTO ولا عاد في اللي احنا الآن يعني كثير مركزين عليها، ما عاد في هذا الكلام. في شيء اسمه أمن، والأمن الدوائي أمن مهم جدا جدا. فاللي تفضل فيه الدكتور عبد الله هموم صحيحة موجودة on the ground، والشباب اللي قاعدين يسوون كمجهود كبير فيه. تضافر الجهود هذه مهمة جدا جدا، ان نحط خطة الآن للأحداث اللي قاعدة تصير، نصير فليكسبل في النظام، فليكسبل بالأسعار، فليكسبل نستوعب التغيرات اللي قاعدة تصير حولنا. لأنه في نظام مثلا في نوبكو، في نظام في السعودي FDA ما حد يقدر يخالفه، بس غير الأنظمة تكون الأنظمة مراعاة للوضع الحالي اللي المريض هو أكثر واحد. صح يتأثر القطاع اللوكل، وزي ما تفضل دكتور عبد الله ترى we are not profit organizations that احنا يوم شفنا الريتيلز فارماسي يوم طلعت بالسوق وشفنا ما شاء الله الريتيل فارماسي نقول ليتنا ريتيل. فالوضع ما هو very attractive لانه في اوبريشن كوست، في عندك none or all. يعني ما شاء الله نبكو يعني تدخل الحمد لله السنه الجايه تطلع مشكله كبيره، فعندنا ستريس كل تندر نقعد على اعصابنا، يمكن نطلع من التندر نقعد سنتين ما عندنا شيء. فهذا this is really a big issue. يمكن الدكتور عبد الله تكلم فيها بهذا، لكن انا متاكد والله من الاخوان اللي موجودين كلهم واحد تعاملت معاهم كلهم they want to do whatever it takes للlocal issues. في انظمه انا اعتقد لازم تتغير. الطلب الاخير انه يا جماعه اي شيء ياثر على السوق كونسلت البرايفت سيكتور، يخلينا احنا انفولف في اي قرار تتخذوه في اي فيوتشر، لان اللي قاعد يقرر يا اكاديمي يا واحد خارج السوق او واحد عنده اكسبيرينس، ثم اكسبيرينس بنفس ما اشتغل في السوق، فيجي يقرر عن السوق كله. فهذا فاكتور كبير جدا ودنا يعني ان شاء الله تعالى في المرحله القادمه نراعيها. شكرا لكم. معليش يعني
شكرا. لا بالعكس، الله يعطيكم العافيه، وان شاء الله يعني بتضافر الجهود ان شاء الله يعني خلينا نقول نعتبر اللقاء يعني كيك اوف، وان شاء الله يعني اللقاءات اخرى. بس الحين ودي اختم اذا تسمحون لي. would like to thank you all for your time and for helping us to make the event successful. وإن شاء الله we look forward seeing you in future events. شكرا لحسن استماعكم والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
استريحوا جنب. يعطيكم العافية. Thank you panelists for the informative session. Now I would like to invite Engineer Ahmed Al-Baghawi to honor and recognize the panelists. Engineer Ahmed is the VP of Studies at the SIDF. دكتور منصور الهويمل Pharmaco Economics Manager at NUPCO. Dr. Ashraf Al-Grain, Healthcare and Pharma Director at Local Content and Government Procurement Authority. Dr. Mohammed Al-Aqil, Factories Inspection and Support Director at SFDA. Dr. Yasser Al-Ubaida, CEO of Sudair Pharma. Session moderator Abiya Turkestani, Pharmaceutical and Medical Devices Market Consultant at SFDA. يعطيكم العافية جميعا، شكرا.